The Mercedes hit the tree at exactly 9:47 p.m. on Valentine's Eve, and with it, my entire world shattered. I was standing at the kitchen sink of my mountain cabin, watching snowflakes assault the windows like tiny fists, when the sound ripped through the silence. Rubber screaming against ice, metal crunching, glass exploding. The impact was so violent it rattled the dishes in my cabinets. My wine glass slipped from my fingers and shattered in the sink. For 3 frozen heartbeats, I stood paralyzed. Then instinct kicked in. I grabbed my heavy-duty flashlight from the drawer and shoved my feet into boots, not bothering to lace them. My hands shook as I threw on my winter coat over my pajamas. The cold hit me like a physical assault when I opened the door. February in the Colorado mountains was brutal, unforgiving. The snow was already knee-deep and still falling in thick, suffocating curtains. I could barely see 10 feet ahead, but I could see the wreckage. A black Mercedes sedan, the expensive kind, sleek and foreign, had wrapped itself around the massive pine tree that marked the edge of my driveway. Steam hissed from the crumpled hood. The driver's side door hung open, twisted metal groaning in the wind. "Hello?" I called out, my voice immediately swallowed by the storm. "Are you hurt? Can you hear me?" Movement in the driver's seat, a shadow unfolding itself from the wreckage. He emerged slowly, and even injured, even bleeding. There was something predatory about the way he moved. Controlled, deliberate, like violence wrapped in an expensive suit. My flashlight beam caught his face and my breath stopped. He was perhaps mid-30s, with sharp Slavic features, high cheekbones, a strong jaw shadowed with stubble, pale eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness, eyes the color of frozen water. His dark hair was matted with blood from a gash above his temple, and more blood, so much more, soaked through his white dress shirt on the left side. But it was those eyes that froze me in place. They were alert, assessing, calculating. Even in pain, even bleeding out in a snowstorm, he looked at me like a wolf evaluating whether I was prey or threat. "Help me inside," he said. His voice was deep, rough, with the faintest trace of a Russian accent that made every word sound like a command. "Or leave me here to die. Your choice, Malishka." The Russian endearment, little one, should have terrified me. This was a stranger, a bleeding, dangerous stranger who'd crashed outside my isolated cabin. "You need an ambulance," I managed, trying to sound authoritative despite the fear clawing at my throat. "I'll call." "No." The single word cracked like a whip. He took a step toward me and nearly collapsed. His hand went to his side, pressing against the wound, and I saw the dark stain spreading across his ribs. No ambulance, no police, no hospitals. My medical training from my brief stint as a nurse's aide kicked in. That wasn't a car crash injury. The wound was too clean, too precise. "That's a bullet wound," I whispered. He smiled, a terrible, humorless expression. "Yes, and if you call anyone, the people who shot me will come to finish the job. And they'll kill you too, just for seeing my face." Every survival instinct I possessed screamed at me to run, lock the door, call 911 despite his threat. But something in his eyes stopped me. Not the danger, though God knows that was there. It was the exhaustion beneath the threat. The bone-deep weariness of a man who'd been running for too long. "I have medical supplies," I heard myself say. "But if you try anything—" "You'll what?" He swayed slightly, gripping the car door for support. "Scream? We're miles from anyone. The storm made sure of that." His eyes never left mine. But I give you my word. I won't hurt you. I need help, that's all. The word of a criminal, a man who'd been shot, a stranger. I made my choice. Lean on me, carefully. He did, and I immediately staggered under his weight. He was easily 6'3", all solid muscle and controlled strength. If he wanted to hurt me, I wouldn't stand a chance. We made the agonizing journey back to the cabin, his blood leaving a dark trail in the pristine snow. By the time I got him through the door and onto my couch, we were both gasping for breath, steam rising from our bodies in the warm interior. First aid kit, he gritted out through clenched teeth. And vodka. You have vodka? Whiskey. It will do. I grabbed my extensive medical kit, assembled after James died when paranoia about being alone had consumed me, and the bottle of expensive scotch I'd never opened. When I returned, the stranger was already shrugging out of his ruined suit jacket, his movements stiff with pain. I'm Vivian, I said, kneeling beside him. What's your name? Those pale eyes fixed on me. Roman. Roman what? Just Roman. He took the whiskey bottle and drank directly from it, not even wincing. That's all you need to know. Fine. This is going to hurt. Everything hurts. He pulled his blood-soaked shirt off, and I had to suppress a gasp. His torso was a canvas of violence. Old scars crisscrossed his ribs and abdomen, knife wounds, bullet wounds, burns, stories written in damaged flesh. But it was the fresh wound that made my stomach clench. The bullet had gone clean through his side, just above his hip. Still bleeding, but not arterial. He'd been incredibly lucky. Or incredibly unlucky, depending on how you looked at it. I worked in silence, cleaning the wound with antiseptic while he sat perfectly still, barely breathing. He didn't flinch when I pressed gauze into the entry wound, didn't make a sound when I wrapped it tight. You've done this before, he observed, watching me work. My husband had a motorcycle, got into accidents. The lie came easily. James had never owned a motorcycle, had never been anything but careful, methodical, boring. Had. Past tense. He died 10 months ago. Something flickered across his face. I'm sorry. The sympathy sounded genuine, which somehow made it worse. You should rest, I said, standing and putting distance between us. That couch folds out. I'll get blankets. No. He stood as well, moving to the window with careful steps. I need to see the approach. Back door? Through the kitchen. But you can't leave in this storm. I'm not leaving. I'm securing the perimeter. He pulled back the curtain slightly, scanning the darkness. They will come, Vivian. Maybe not tonight. The storm will slow them. But they'll come. Ice water flooded my veins. Who? Who's coming? The Castellano family. He said it like I should know, like everyone knew. I stole something from them. They want it back, and they want me dead. Then why did you come here? Why did you bring them to my door? Roman turned from the window, and in the firelight, his features looked almost demonic. I didn't choose to crash, Malishka. But now that I'm here, I'll make sure you survive what's coming. He crossed the room in 3 strides, suddenly in my space, towering over me. I should have been terrified. Part of me was. I don't want your protection. You got it anyway. His hand came up, and I flinched. He paused, then very slowly reached past me to grab the whiskey bottle from the table. Get some rest. I'll keep watch. You're injured. I've been shot 7 times. He took another drink. This is number 8. I'll survive. His pale eyes held mine. Lock your bedroom door if it makes you feel safer. But know this. If they come through that door before dawn, a locked bedroom won't save you. Only I can do that. Then he moved back to the window, dismissing me. I stood frozen for a moment, trying to process what had just happened. A wounded stranger, clearly a criminal, had crashed into my life, warned me about killers coming, and somehow, impossibly, I believed him. I retreated to my bedroom but didn't lock the door. Instead, I stood in the shadows, watching through the crack as Roman positioned himself by the window, gun in hand, eyes scanning the storm. Standing watch, protecting me from dangers I couldn't see. And I realized with cold clarity, my quiet, isolated grief, my carefully constructed solitude, had just been shattered as completely as Roman's windshield. Nothing would ever be the same. I didn't sleep. I lay in my bed, still dressed, listening to the storm batter my cabin and the occasional creak of floorboards as Roman moved through my living room. Every sound made my heart race. Every silence made it worse. Around 2 a.m., I gave up and crept back to the living room. Roman was exactly where I'd left him, standing by the window, though he'd pulled on a clean shirt he must have found in my closet. One of James's old flannels, too tight across his broader shoulders. "Can't sleep?" he asked without turning around. "How did you know I was here?" "I always know. You're loud when you try to be quiet." Despite everything, I felt a flash of irritation. "This is my house." "Not anymore." He turned to face me fully. "For now, it's a fortress. And fortresses have one commander." "And that's you?" "That's me." No apology in his voice, just fact. I've kept men alive in worse situations than this. Trust me, Malishka. I know what I'm doing. Don't call me that. Why not? Because I'm not your anything. Something almost like amusement crossed his face. We'll see. I moved to the kitchen, needing distance, needing to do something with my hands. I put on coffee. Too late for caffeine, but I wasn't sleeping anyway. "Tell me about him," Roman said from behind me. "Your husband." I stiffened. Why? Because a woman doesn't live alone in a cabin this isolated unless she's hiding from something. The observation cut too close to truth. "James died in a car accident," I said, measuring coffee grounds with shaking hands. 10 months ago. He was driving home from the city when his car went off a bridge. Accident. Ramon's tone made it a question. That's what the police said. And what did you say? I turned to face him. I said he was scared in the weeks before he died. Paranoid. Checking locks 3 times, jumping at shadows. I said something was wrong, but he wouldn't tell me what. And then he died. And I was alone. Ramon studied me with those unsettling pale eyes. What did your husband do for work? Financial consulting. He worked for a firm called Meridian Group. Corporate accounts, investment portfolios, boring stuff. I poured coffee into 2 mugs. Why? Meridian Group doesn't exist, Vivian. The world tilted. What? It's a shell company, a front. He accepted the coffee I handed him. Your husband wasn't a financial consultant. He was a money launderer. He cleaned money for the Castellano syndicate. The mug slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. Coffee splashed across the tiles, but I barely noticed. "You're lying," I whispered. "I wish I was." Ramon set his mug down carefully. "I know because I worked for them too. Different role, but same organization. Meridian is how they move drug money, illegal gambling profits, extortion payments. All of it funneled through shell companies with respectable sounding names." "No, no, that's impossible. James was careful, methodical. He wouldn't—" "Perfect cover," Ramon interrupted. "The boring accountant nobody suspects. Moving millions through real estate purchases, investment funds, offshore accounts." His voice gentled. "I'm sorry, but it's the truth." I sank into a kitchen chair, my legs refusing to support me. "The paranoia in his last weeks," Ramon continued. "The fear. He knew they'd found out he was skimming money, taking a little off the top of every transaction. Probably thought they wouldn't notice a few percentage points. But they always notice, Vivian. Always." "They killed him." My voice sounded hollow, distant. "The car accident was murder, made to look like an accident." He crouched in front of me, bringing himself to eye level. "And if they knew about you, if they thought you knew anything about his work, you'd be dead too." Hysteria bubbled up my throat. "I mourned him. I sold everything we had, moved up here to grieve in peace. I thought I'd lost the love of my life." Tears burned my eyes. "He was a criminal, a liar. Our entire marriage was built on blood money." "Probably," Ramon agreed. "But that doesn't mean he didn't love you." "Don't." The word came out sharp. "Don't try to redeem him. He lied to me every single day, put me in danger and never warned me. That's not love." "No," Ramon said quietly. "It's cowardice." The validation hit harder than sympathy would have. I pressed my hands to my face, trying to breathe through the revelation that my entire life had been a lie. "The men hunting you," I managed. "Do they know about me?" "Probably not. You're a widow they've likely forgotten about." He stood, wincing at the movement. "But if they find me here, you become a witness. And the Castellanos don't leave witnesses." "So I'm in danger because of James. And I'm in danger because of you." "Yes." No apology, just fact. I looked up at him, this stranger who'd crashed into my grief with impossible truths. "I want you to leave." "I can't. Storm's too heavy, and I'd bleed out before I made it a mile. And even if I could leave—" He moved to the window, checking the driveway. "They might already know I'm here. If I walk out, I'm dead. And 20 minutes later, they'll come back to make sure there were no witnesses." "So I'm trapped. With you. With all of this." "Yes." He looked at me over his shoulder. "And I'm sorry. But I swear on whatever honor I have left, I will keep you alive." "Why?" The question exploded out. "You don't know me. Why would you protect a stranger?" Roman was quiet for a long moment. "Because someone should have protected you the first time. When your husband dragged you into this world without your knowledge or consent." His jaw tightened. "And because you helped me last night. You could have left me to die in that car, but you didn't. That means something." The sincerity in his voice made my chest ache. "I need air. I said abruptly, standing on shaking legs. I need to think. Back porch. Stay under the overhang where you're not visible from the road. I grabbed my coat and stepped outside into the bitter cold. The storm had eased slightly, though snow still fell in heavy flakes. I stood on the porch, gripping the railing, trying to process the wreckage of my entire belief system. James had been a criminal, our marriage a lie, and now a Russian killer was the only person being honest with me. The absurdity would have been funny if it weren't so devastating. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough for my fingers to go numb. Long enough for frost to form on my eyelashes. When I finally turned to go back inside, I caught Roman's reflection in the window. He was watching me. Not my face. His eyes were fixed on my body with an intensity that made heat bloom despite the cold. Hungry. Possessive. Like he was memorizing every curve beneath my winter coat. Our eyes met through the glass. He didn't look away. Didn't look embarrassed. He just held my gaze with that burning intensity, acknowledging what I'd seen without shame or apology. Then he deliberately turned away, giving me privacy. I stood frozen on that porch, heart pounding, trying to understand the complicated knot of fear and something else that coiled in my stomach. Roman wanted me. And God help me, some part of me that had been dead since James died was starting to wake up. When I came back inside, Roman was at the kitchen table, methodically cleaning his gun. The sight should have terrified me. Instead, I found myself fascinated by the precision of his movements, the way he handled each component with careful reverence. You need to learn, he said without looking up. If they come, you have to be able to defend yourself. I can't shoot someone. You can if it's your life or theirs. He reassembled the weapon with practiced ease. Come here. Against my better judgment, I moved to stand beside him. Roman held out the gun, handle first. Take it. The weight was shocking when I accepted it, heavier than I'd expected, dense with potential violence. 2 hands, he instructed, standing and moving behind me. Dominant hand here, support hand underneath, thumbs forward. His body was suddenly close to mine, not touching, but I could feel his heat, his presence wrapping around me like a physical force. Feet shoulder-width apart, he continued, his voice dropping lower. You need a stable base. Lean forward slightly into your stance. His hands came up to correct my posture, one on my hip, adjusting my position, the other covering my hands on the weapon. His fingers were warm, calloused, impossibly gentle. Like this, he murmured near my ear, and I felt his breath stir my hair. Feel how solid that is? That's your foundation. I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Every nerve ending was screaming awareness of him, his size, his strength, the controlled danger in every movement. Now raise it, Roman said, his chest nearly brushing my back. Aim at that knot in the wood beam. Don't pull the trigger, just squeeze. Slow, steady pressure. I did as instructed, feeling the trigger's resistance. Good, he praised, and something in his voice made warmth pool low in my belly. Very good, Malishka. Your hands are steady. When the moment comes, your body will remember this. Muscle memory will take over. I don't want to kill anyone. His hands tightened on mine. Neither do I. Not anymore. But if someone comes through that door with murder in their eyes, you will do what you have to. Because the alternative is dying. And I won't allow that. The possessiveness in his voice sent a shiver down my spine. He stepped back, taking his warmth with him, and I had to lock my knees to stay upright. "Practice that stance," he said, all business again. "Get comfortable with the weight. We'll do this every few hours until it becomes instinct." "And if they don't come?" "Then you've learned a useful skill." He moved to check the windows again. "But they'll come, Vivian. It's only a question of when." I lowered the gun, hands trembling. "You watched me earlier on the porch." Roman went still. He didn't turn around. "Yes." "Why?" "Because you're beautiful." He finally looked at me, no apology in his eyes. "And because I'm still alive enough to notice." "That's not appropriate." "Neither is anything about this situation." He crossed his arms. "But I won't lie to you, Vivian. I won't pretend I don't want you just to make you comfortable. You deserve honesty, even when it's uncomfortable." My breath caught. "What do you want?" "You want the truth?" He moved closer, and suddenly we were back in that charged space from earlier. "I want to kiss you. I want to know what you taste like. I want to hear the sounds you make when someone touches you the way you deserve to be touched." His voice dropped dangerously low. "But I won't. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because you're still processing your husband's betrayal, still angry and hurt and confused. And I don't take advantage of women in crisis, no matter how much I want them." "That's very noble." "It's selfish," he corrected. "When you come to me, if you come to me, I want it to be a choice, not an escape from grief or a reaction to trauma. I want you to choose me knowing exactly what I am and what I've done." "And what are you, Roman? What have you done?" His expression hardened. "I've killed 19 people. Some were targets I was paid to eliminate. Some were men trying to kill me. Some were—" He paused. "Some were innocent people in the wrong place at the wrong time." Does that scare you?" "It should have. God, it should have." "Yes," I admitted. "But not the way you think." "Then how?" "I'm scared that it doesn't scare me enough. I'm scared that the only person who's been honest with me in a year is a killer. I'm scared that I'm starting to trust you more than I ever trusted my own husband." Roman stared at me for a long moment. Then he laughed, a real, genuine sound that transformed his harsh features. "Dangerous woman," he murmured. "I knew it the moment I saw you." Before I could respond, his expression shifted. He grabbed the binoculars from the table and moved to the window. "What?" Fear spiked. "What is it?" "Nothing. Yet." He scanned the tree line. "But the storm's breaking. By tonight, the roads will be passable." "Good. Then you can leave." "And lead them right back to you once they're certain I was here?" He shook his head. "No. I stay until this is finished." "Finished how?" "Either I eliminate everyone they send," he said calmly, "or they eliminate me. But either way, you survive. That's non-negotiable." The casual acceptance of his potential death made my chest ache in ways I didn't want to examine. The rest of the day passed in strange domesticity. Roman taught me how to field strip and reassemble the gun, how to check if a room was secure, how to identify potential ambush points around the cabin. "You're very thorough," I observed as he showed me the blind spot by the back door for the third time. Thorough keeps you alive. He tested the door lock. Careless gets you buried. Is that what happened to the 19 people you killed? They were careless? Some of them. He moved to the next window. Some were unlucky. Some were exactly where they were supposed to be, and I was hired to make sure they stopped breathing. Do you regret it? Roman was quiet for a long moment. I regret 3 of them, the ones who were truly innocent. Collateral damage. His jaw tightened. The rest deserved what they got. The world is better without them. And what about you? Does the world need you in it? He looked at me with those pale, haunting eyes. That's not for me to decide. By evening, the storm had eased to occasional flurries. Roman's tension increased proportionally with each hour of improving weather. They'll come tonight, he said, checking his ammunition for the 4th time. As soon as the roads are passable. How many? At least 3, maybe 4. The Castellanas don't send fewer than that for a target like me. Target. I wrapped my arms around myself. That's what you are to them. That's what I am to everyone, Malishka. A target. A weapon. A problem to be solved. He loaded a fresh magazine into his gun. The only question is, who pulls the trigger first? There has to be another way. We could call the police and tell them what? That the Russian mob is coming to kill a professional assassin who's hiding in your cabin? He shook his head. By the time they sort out jurisdiction and decide whether to help or arrest me, we'll both be dead. So we just wait for them to come kill us? We wait for them to try. He checked the sight on his weapon. There's a difference. As darkness fell, Roman positioned me in the kitchen with the spare gun he'd retrieved from his car earlier. If they breach the front door, you stay here. Low. Behind the counter. If anyone comes through that isn't me, you shoot first. Understand? I can't. You can. His hands framed my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Listen to me, Vivian. If it comes down to your life or theirs, you pull that trigger. You don't hesitate. You don't think. You just act. Can you do that? Looking into those pale eyes, seeing the absolute certainty there, I found myself nodding. Good girl. He pressed a quick, hard kiss to my forehead, the first time he touched me that way, then released me. Now get behind that counter and don't move until I say so. I crouched in position, gun heavy in my shaking hands, and watched Roman take up his position by the front window, waiting for death to come knocking. The first sign was headlights cutting through the darkness. 2 vehicles, black SUVs with tinted windows, crawling up my driveway. Roman, I breathed. I see them. His voice was utterly calm, cold. Remember what I taught you. Breathe, aim, squeeze. The vehicle stopped 50 yards from the cabin. Doors opened. 4 men emerged, all armed, moving with military precision. 4, Roman muttered. They're taking me seriously. Should be flattered. This isn't funny. I know. He chambered around. Stay down, Malishka. Whatever happens, stay down. The first shot came without warning, glass shattering, wood splintering. I screamed and pressed myself against the cabinet as chaos erupted. Roman returned fire with methodical precision. 3 shots, 3 seconds. Then he was moving, using the furniture for cover, never staying in one place. "Basement!" he roared. "Get to the basement now!" But I was frozen, unable to move, unable to breathe, as bullets tore through my home. One of the attackers breached the back door, the one Roman had said was a blind spot. He raised his weapon toward Roman's exposed back. I didn't think. I raised my gun, remembered everything Roman had taught me, and pulled the trigger. The recoil jarred my arms. The sound was deafening, and the man dropped like a puppet with cut strings. I'd killed someone. The realization hit me like a physical blow. My hands started shaking so badly I nearly dropped the gun. Then Roman was there, pulling me behind the counter, his hands on my face, forcing me to look at him. "You did what you had to," he said fiercely. "You saved my life. Do you understand? You saved me." I killed him. He would have killed both of us. Another burst of gunfire. Roman returning fire blind over the counter. "Stay with me, Vivian. I need you here. Can you do that?" I nodded, swallowing the hysteria. "Good. Now reload." He slapped a fresh magazine into my hand. "Just like I showed you." My hands were shaking, but muscle memory took over. I ejected the spent magazine and loaded the new one. The next few minutes were chaos. Roman moved through my cabin like a ghost, taking down the remaining attackers with brutal efficiency. When the last body dropped, silence crashed down like a physical weight. I stayed crouched behind the counter, unable to move, staring at my hands. Hands that had taken a life. "Vivian." Roman's voice was gentle now. He crouched beside me, setting his weapon down. "Look at me." I did. And he must have seen the shock in my eyes because something in his expression softened. "You're in shock. That's normal. First time is always hard." He took the gun from my trembling hands. "But you did perfectly. You protected yourself. You protected me. That's all that matters." "There are dead men in my house," I whispered. "I'll take care of them. All of them." He cupped my face with surprising gentleness. "But first, I need to make sure you're okay. Are you hurt? Did any of them touch you?" I shook my head, unable to find words. "Okay, good." He pulled me against his chest, one arm wrapping around me while the other kept his weapon ready. "You did so good, Malishka. So brave." And there, surrounded by violence and death, I broke. I sobbed into his chest while he held me, one hand stroking my hair, murmuring words in Russian I didn't understand but that sounded almost tender. When I finally stopped shaking, when the tears finally ran dry, Roman eased me back. "I need to clear the perimeter. Make sure there aren't more. Can you stay here for 5 minutes?" "Don't leave me," I heard myself say, hating how small my voice sounded. "Never." His thumb brushed my cheek. 5 minutes. Then I'm back. I promise." He kept his word. 5 minutes later, he returned, his face grim. "They're all dead. No reinforcements. We're secure for now." "For now." "For now," he agreed. "I need to move the bodies, hide the vehicles. Can you help me?" I should have said no, should have recoiled from the horror of it. Instead, I nodded. We worked in silence, dragging bodies through the snow, loading them into the SUVs. Roman drove both vehicles deep into the woods where they wouldn't be visible from the road. When we finally came back inside, dawn was breaking. We were both covered in blood and snow. "Shower," Roman said. "You first. Get warm." I moved like a zombie, stripping off my clothes, standing under scalding water and watching pink-tinged water circle the drain. I'd killed a man tonight, and Roman had killed 3 more, and somehow we were both still breathing. When I emerged, wrapped in my robe, Roman was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. "Your turn," I said quietly. He looked up, and I saw the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight of violence. "Thank you." While he showered, I made coffee with shaking hands, tried to process what had happened, failed. Roman emerged wearing clean clothes from James's closet, his wet hair pushed back from his face. In the morning light, he looked younger, more vulnerable. "How do you do it?" I asked. "Live with what you've done." He accepted the coffee, wrapping his hands around the mug. "I tell myself they would have done worse, that I'm a weapon pointed at bad people, that the world is better without them." "And does that help?" "No." He met my eyes. "But it's the only way I know how to survive." I sat across from him, and we drank our coffee in silence as the sun rose on what should have been Valentine's Day. But there was nothing romantic about blood on snow, nothing beautiful about what we'd done to stay alive. Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. We spent the rest of Valentine's Day in a strange limbo. Roman insisted on keeping watch despite his exhaustion. I cleaned blood from my floors and tried not to think about how it got there. By evening, the adrenaline had worn off, leaving us both hollow and shaking. "You should rest," I told him as he checked the windows for the 100th time. "Can't." He didn't turn around. "If I sleep, I might not wake up." "Roman, I've seen it happen, Vivian. Men who survived the fight and died in their sleep. Shot through windows, throats cut. I can't." His voice roughened. "I can't trust sleep anymore." The brokenness in his admission made my chest ache. I moved to stand beside him at the window. Outside, the world looked peaceful. Pristine snow, dark pines, no sign of the violence that had occurred here. "What do you see?" I asked softly. "Approaches, angles, where they'll come from next time." "Will there be a next time?" "Yes." He finally looked at me. "The Castellanas don't give up. They'll send more, better trained, more ruthless." "Then we call the police, the FBI, someone." "And tell them what? That I killed 4 of their men? I'd be arrested, and you'd be left alone and unprotected." He shook his head. "No. The only way out of this is through." "Through what?" "Through all of them, until there's no one left to send." The cold certainty in his voice should have terrified me. Instead, I found myself reaching for his hand. "You can't fight an entire organization alone." "I've done it before." His fingers tightened on mine. "I'll do it again. For you." "Why?" the questions stir out. "Why would you do this for me? I'm no one. Just a widow who was stupid enough to help a stranger." Roman turned to face me fully, his pale eyes intense in the fading light. "You want to know why? Because when I crashed outside your cabin, bleeding and hunted, you didn't hesitate. You helped me. Most people would have locked their doors and called the police. But you saw someone in pain, and you acted." His free hand came up to cut my jaw. You have compassion in a world that punishes it. That's rare, Vivian. Worth protecting. That's not a reason to die for someone. It's the only reason that matters. I stared at him, at this brutal, dangerous man who spoke about compassion like it was sacred. I don't understand you. Good. His thumb brushed across my lower lip. If you understood me, you'd run. And I don't want you to run, Malishka. What do you want? This. He leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away, time to refuse. I didn't. His lips touched mine, gentle, questioning. Nothing like the violent man I'd seen kill 3 people with cold precision. This was careful, reverent. I made a sound, need, relief, something I couldn't name, and pressed closer. Roman's control broke. His hand slid into my hair, tilting my head back as the kiss deepened. His other arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me flush against him. He kissed me like he was drowning and I was air. I kissed him back with equal desperation, my hands fisting in his shirt, feeling the solid warmth of him, the proof that we were both still alive. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his eyes were nearly black with desire. Tell me to stop. I don't want you to stop. Vivian, I'm not confused. I'm not running from grief. I met his gaze directly. I'm choosing this, choosing you, right now. Do you understand? Something fierce and possessive flashed across his face. Say it again. I choose you, Roman. He lifted me effortlessly, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carried me toward the bedroom. He kicked the door shut behind us and lowered me onto the bed with surprising gentleness. Last chance. Once I start, I won't be able to stop. Then don't stop. His eyes blazed. You're sure? Completely sure. Yes. He kissed me again, deeper, slower, learning the taste of me. His hands moved to the tie of my robe, pausing. May I? The request for permission, even now, made something in my chest crack open. Yes, I breathed. He undid the tie slowly, reverently, pushing the fabric aside. His gaze traveled over me with such intensity, I felt it like a physical touch. Beautiful. So damn beautiful. I reached for his shirt, fumbling with the buttons. He helped me, shrugging it off, and I saw the full extent of his scars in the lamplight. So many stories written in scar tissue. Does it bother you? What I am? What again? No. I traced a scar across his ribs. These are proof you survived. That's all that matters. His breath caught. Then he was kissing me again, his hands moving over my skin with careful reverence. Every touch asked permission. Every movement gave me space to refuse. But I didn't refuse. I pulled him closer, let him push the robe from my shoulders, felt his weight settle over me like an anchor. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. You. Just you. What followed was slow, intense, achingly tender. He learned my body like he was memorizing a map, found every place that made me gasp, every touch that made me arch into him. And when he finally moved above me, when we finally came together, it felt like coming home. I woke to gray morning light and Roman's arm wrapped around my waist, holding me against his chest even in sleep. For the first time in 10 months, I didn't wake up alone. I turned carefully, not wanting to wake him, and studied his face in the dawn light. Asleep, he looked younger, less dangerous. The hard lines around his mouth had softened. His eyes opened, instantly alert. "Hey," I whispered. "Hey." His arm tightened around me. "You okay?" "More than okay." Something vulnerable crossed his face. "I didn't hurt you." "No, you were—" I searched for words. "Perfect." He made a rough sound and pulled me closer, burying his face in my hair. "I don't deserve this. Don't deserve you." "That's not your choice to make." "Vivian," I silenced him with a kiss, softer this time, sweeter. When I pulled back, his eyes were molten. "We should get up," I murmured, even as I made no move to leave the warmth of his arms. "We should." But he didn't release me. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, I agreed. We both knew we were lying. 2 more days passed in isolated peace. Roman taught me more about defense. We cooked simple meals together, and at night, we came together with increasing urgency, learning each other, finding solace in touch, proving we were still alive. On the 3rd morning, Roman's phone finally got signal. He stood at the window, speaking in rapid Russian to someone on the other end. When he hung up, his face was grim. That was my contact in the organization, the one who warned me they were coming. And? And the Castellanos think I'm dead. They found the SUVs, the bodies. They're assuming I died in the attack, and the body was lost in the woods. Relief flooded through me. So it's over? For now. He set the phone down. But it won't last. Eventually, someone will come looking, tying up loose ends. Then we have time. Some. He looked at me, conflict clear in his eyes. "Vivian, I have to leave. Every day I stay puts you in more danger." "No!" The word came out fierce. "You're not leaving me! Not now!" "I have to keep you safe." "I'll follow you." "Don't be stupid. Don't you dare!" I crossed to him, grabbing his shirt. "Don't you dare sleep with me, make me care about you, and then tell me I'm being stupid for wanting to stay with you." "Vivian, I love you!" The words burst out before I could stop them. "I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I love you, Roman, and I'm not letting you walk away to protect me from a danger that will come whether you're here or not." He stared at me, shock clear on his face. "You can't love me. You barely know me." "I know you're honest. I know you're protective. I know you ask permission before you touch me, and you hold me like I'm precious." Tears burned my eyes. "I know you're the first person who's made me feel alive in 10 months. That's enough." "I'm a killer." "I know what you are." I cupped his face in my hands. "And I'm choosing you anyway. So you don't get to make this decision for me. Either we face this together, or I follow you when you leave. Your choice." Roman stared at me for a long moment. Then he kissed me, hard, desperate, claiming. When he pulled back, his eyes were bright. "I love you too," he rasped. "God help me. I love you too." He kissed me again, backing me toward the bedroom with clear intent. "Roman, I need you," he growled against my neck. "Right now. Tell me yes." "Yes. Always yes." Afterward, wrapped in sheets with his heartbeat under my ear, I felt complete in a way I never had with James. "What do we do now?" I asked. "We run." His hand stroked down my spine. "I have money hidden. Fake passports. We can disappear. Start over somewhere they'll never find us. Truly? I won't let them have you. His arms tightened. Whatever it takes, Vivian. We survive this together. Together, I agreed. And as snow began falling again outside, blanketing the world in white, I finally felt safe. Not because the danger was gone, but because I wasn't facing it alone. I hope you enjoyed Vivian and Roman's journey. From a storm-filled night to a dangerous new beginning. I'd love to know where you're listening from, so leave a comment below and share your location. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to Midnight Ink for more dark and emotional romance tales. And don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts on the ending. Your support truly means a lot.